Hello, let's go over some basic controls. Part of your basic controls in trucking is accelerating, steering, of course, stopping, and backing safely. Some of the key points when you're using your acceleration. You don't want to roll backwards when you start. You do not use your throttle. You let out your clutch very slowly. As the clutch engages, release the brake and slowly continue to release the clutch once the truck is rolling. Let's talk about steering. 1. Hold the wheel at all times with both hands. 2. Maintain your hands at opposite sides of the wheel. 3. Hold your wheel firm, but don't give a death grip. And what that means is you don't want to hold it too tight. You want to make sure that there's some free play in between your hand and the steering wheel. Stopping. You want to push the pedal down gradually. You don't want to just press it really hard, okay? It's a gradual push on the pedal. The amount of pressure depends on the following: the type of load you have, meaning how heavy it is, as well, the road conditions, the type of road surface, tire condition, brake system condition. All of these matter on how hard or how soft you press your pedal. When at almost a stop, make sure that you depress the clutch. Backing safely. First of all, you want to make sure you're in the proper position. Put the vehicle in the best position to back safely. Type of backing being done. If you are doing a straight back, you want to make sure you position yourself correctly. If you're doing an offset, if you're doing a 90, you want to make sure that you are in the right position. All of this you will learn in the yard. Look at your path. It's the same thing when you're in your regular vehicle, right? You always position your vehicle before you park. And then you look and scan to make sure that you are very much so cleared. So when we say check your clearances, check your 6, that means 6 o'clock, okay? You want to check all the way to 6 o'clock on both sides. You want to make sure you're clear. Get out and walk around. There's nothing wrong with getting out of your vehicle and looking around the perimeter and making sure that you're clear. You always want to use both mirrors, okay? These commercial vehicles have mirrors on the left and on the right. You want to look at your mirrors and make sure as you're parking that you are doing exactly, making your truck or your trailer go exactly where you want it to go. Back slowly. I can't express this enough. Take your time. I'm not saying be a slug, but absolutely take your time. It's not a race, okay? Always back toward the driver's side, never the blind side, if possible. That's not always going to be the case. All right? But if you can, go ahead and back towards your driver's side. When in doubt, get out and look. That is goal. All right? Use helpers when available. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Shifting gears. Manual transmission. You release the accelerator, push in the clutch, and shift to neutral at the same time. That's double clutch. Okay? Release the clutch. Let the engine and gear slow down to the RPMs required for the next gear. Push in the clutch and shift to the higher gear at the same time. Release the clutch and press the accelerator at the same time. It sounds like a lot, but once you actually get in the truck and we start doing the motions and create our rhythm, it'll make a lot more sense. Knowing when to shift. This is very important. Even though you have not been in the truck yet, most of you, pay attention to this. Your engine speed. Each engine is different. Each transmission is different. Progressive shifting. So let's talk just a quick second about your engine speed. You will hear your engine. It will tell you, hey, I need you to shift. And it'll make noises when you're not going in the right gear. Okay? So pay attention. If you are going too fast and you're trying to shift down, your truck will buck. Okay? Road speed. Each gear has its own speed. So absolutely use your speedometer to help you match the gears with your speed. It's something I say all the time. And when you get out there in the yard, you will absolutely learn this, okay? Procedures for downshifting. First of all, what is downshifting? So downshifting is once we're up to our high gears, now we need to get to our lower gears to slow our truck down so that we can be compliant with the speed or so that we can prepare to stop. That's what we call downshifting. So going from our high gears to our low gears. Release accelerator. Push in your clutch and shift into neutral at the same time. Release the clutch, press the accelerator, increase engine, so that means rev it up, and gear speed to the RPM required in your lower gear. Push in clutch and shift to lower gear at the same time. This is how we double clutch, okay? You release the accelerator, so you take your foot off of it, push in the clutch, shift into neutral. So that means you're going to pull it out of the gear to shift it in neutral, okay? Release the clutch, press the accelerator just a little bit to match the speed that you're going to, and push the clutch in, all right? So basically, release the accelerator, push in your clutch, shift out of gear, you're in neutral, press the accelerator just a little bit, push the clutch, shift to lower gear at the same time, okay? All right, and then for automatic transmissions, they can be shifted into lower gear for better downhill braking. Lower range prevents from shifting into higher gear. So the automatic trucks are set to where they automatically shift for you, which is really nice. Really, really nice. So now we're going to talk about retarders or engine brake. If you're wondering what the engine brake is, if you've ever heard a big truck passing through your neighborhood or on the highways and you hear that noise, brrr, and you're like, what is that? Well, that's the engine brake. All right. And basically what it does is it helps your vehicle or your truck slow down. So there are four types. There's the exhaust, engine, hydraulic, and electric. They all have the exact same function. They help slow your truck down without using your brakes. Used with brakes saves on brake wear, sorry. When used, they save on your brake wear. Braking power is applied to your drive axles. There is a caution here. Drive wheels with poor traction can cause a skid when using your engine brakes, okay? So if your drive tires are not in good condition, you don't want to use your engine brakes, okay? Seeing ahead. Look far enough ahead of you to anticipate any problems before they become a problem. 12 to 15 seconds is your general rule. Slower speeds, about 1 block, okay? Half speeds, a quarter of a mile. Slower speeds, about 1 block. Highway speeds, a quarter of a mile. Look for turning vehicles, intersections, side road traffic, slower moving vehicles. You want to pay attention to all of that, okay? Now we're going to talk about seeing to the side and the rear. You're going to absolutely get used to this using your mirrors. Okay? In these trucks, you can't always rely on sticking your head out or, looking through your rear view mirror. No, you're going to have to use the mirrors on the sides of your truck. Sometimes some of the trucks have the mirrors in the front as well on the hood, but using your mirrors. Make sure your mirrors are properly adjusted before your trip to you. Make sure that they work for you, for your vision and your height, okay? Make sure that you can see in a straight line and that they're kept clean. Regular checks. Know what is around you. When you are driving, you should constantly be zoning. Looking to your left, looking to your right, scanning in front of you. You should know what vehicles are behind you, what vehicles are in front of you, what vehicles are on the side of you. You should be paying attention at all times. Traffic. Have a way out in case of emergency. When I'm driving, I'm always looking at my surroundings and I'm always thinking of a getaway. And that's very important, whether you're in the highways or whether you're in the city. You want to pay attention to see how you can get out of a tight spot. All right? Checking your vehicle. You want to make sure because your tires can catch on fire. And if you have any loose straps, that can be a hazard as well. All right? Special situations. Lane changes, turns and merges, and tight maneuvers. I am always paying attention to that as well. All right? Lane changes. Before changing lanes, after signaling, right after lane change started, after everything is completed. So use your mirrors every time, okay? So I check before I go into the next lane. I check after I've turned my signal on, before I get into that lane. While I'm getting into the lane, I'm still checking my mirrors because vehicles will still try to come around us or wedge in between us, even though we're signaling. They will still try to advance. Okay? Right after lane change, I'm checking my mirrors. Once I'm in the lane and driving, I'm still checking my mirrors. Okay? When you're ready to make a turn, make sure your vehicle clears during your turns. And how do you do that? By checking your mirrors. Tight maneuvers, keeping an eye on clearance. How do you do that? You get where I'm going. Okay, so how to use mirrors. Develop a pattern. Don't stare at one too long. Okay, so don't get caught in a daze. Like, oh, that's a really cute car, and you're just staring at it. You don't want to do that. Look at the road. Look at the right mirror. Look back at the road. Look at your left mirror. Look at the right road. Check your gauges. Look back at the road. All right. So it's a swivel. Your head is on a constant swivel. You will get very strong neck muscles, especially when you're first starting, because you're constantly going to be looking. As you become more experienced, you're going to get a little more relaxed. But remember, no matter how experienced you are, those of you who are getting back into the truck, please continue to be safe out there and look at the road, look at the mirrors, look at the mirrors, look at the road, look at your gauges. Just keep that rhythm going. All right, so approximately 8 to 10 seconds total, but just keep paying attention. All right. Okay, so let's move forward on to communication. So let's talk about terms. You want to signal your intentions. You want to signal early. You want to signal continuously. So what that means is, I'm about to make a right turn. I'm going to signal ahead of time to let people know that I'm going to be making a right turn. Now, I'm not going to do it a mile ahead, okay? But I am going to do it, you know, far enough, but close enough for them to understand that, hey, this truck is about to turn. It's good to do that because there will be one person or two people who will try to hurry up and skirt around you so that they can turn to you. All right. So let them get it out of their system now. Signal, put your signal on, let them know, hey, I'm about to make a turn. Make sure it's early. Don't signal as you're making the turn. Start and give them that awareness beforehand. Keep your signal on as you're turning. Some of the trucks, the signal will turn off while you're in the motion of turning. I usually just hold it as I'm steering. Okay. Some of them just stay on. Even after you're done, it'll stay on. So it really just depends on the truck. But go ahead and signal continuously as you're turning. That's letting everyone know, hey, I'm making this wide turn, but I'm still trying to get into the closest lane. So even though I'm turning wide and I'm basically taking both lanes, I'm getting back into this right lane. So my right turn signal is going to stay on. Once I am in the right lane, the furthest right lane, by the way, once I'm there and I'm driving in my tractor and trailer, for those of you in combination vehicles, I'm in my tractor and my trailer, and we are both straight in the lane. Now I will cancel my turn signal. All right? Lane changes. I'm going to put my turn signal on before I get into the lane. Even if the lane is clear, I'm going to put my turn signal on while I'm in my right lane, and then I'm going to use my mirrors and make sure there's nobody there. And then I'm going to get into that lane, start merging into the lane. Once my entire vehicle, truck and trailer, or just truck, is in the lane, nothing is leaning over to any other lanes, but my entire vehicle is in the lane, then I will cancel my turn signal. I hope you understand that part. It's so very important, okay? Slowing down. Warn drivers behind you. Simple. Tap your brake to let them know you're about to slow down. You can use your four-way flashers. That lets them know, hey, there's trouble ahead. You're about to make a tight turn. You're stopping on the road or you're driving slowly. All right. But do not direct traffic with your turn signals. All right. So don't say, hey, go around me on my left side, because you have a left turn signal. That's not what that's for. You use your signals if you're making a turn, if you're trying to bring awareness to your next move, or you're in an emergency situation, okay? I wouldn't say tap your brakes, but definitely using your four-way flashers is a great indication that, hey, you're slowing down, all right? All right. So communicating your presence. When passing, when it's hard to see, dawn, dusk, rain, or snow, always use your headlights. So when you're passing a vehicle, you should always, for one, use your turn signals to let them know you're passing them. And then use your turn signals to let them know you're getting back in front of them. All right. And then of course, use your headlights, especially if it's hard to see out. If it's foggy, you don't want to have your bright lights on. If it's dark and you have your bright lights on, that's fine. But when you see another truck coming, turn them off. All right. If there is trouble behind you, like traffic or, a road closure, flashing your headlights to another truck that's coming is always a good way of communicating and just, having a good lookout. Triangle placement. This part is important. It is on your permit test if you have not taken it. It's also important for your life as a commercial driver. Triangle placement. One way or divided highway, 10 feet to the rear, 100 feet to the rear, 200 feet to the rear. You might say, okay, what is that? Why are you saying that? Well, if you're pulled over on the side of the road, you have an emergency, a breakdown. In your vehicle, you should have 3 emergency flags or triangles, all right? One way, if you're on a one way or a divided highway, so that means, one way here, or it's split, it's divided. Then your cone should go, the first cone should be 10 feet behind your vehicle. The next cone should be 100 feet behind the vehicle. And then the third cone should be 200 feet behind the vehicle. And that's very important because you're on a one-way road. So cars are just coming, right? Now, if you're on a two-way or undivided highway, then you don't have to put it as far back because there's multiple lanes, okay? So if that's the case, then you want to do 100 feet in front because there's cars coming from the front of you now. And then you want to put it 10 feet behind you and then 100 feet behind you. All right? So that's where your 3 cones are going to be placed. If you have a curve or a hill, something that's obstructing your view, you want to put 10 feet to the rear, one at 100 feet to the rear, and then your third up to 500 feet to the rear, okay? So you want to say, hey, slow down. If I'm driving, I'm like, oh, that's a random cone. I'm going to slow down coming up a hill. Okay, something's trying to get my attention. So I'm going to slow down, and then boom, here's another one. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me slow down. And then there you are, stuck on the side of the road, okay? That's what you want to do. You want to bring that awareness so that the vehicles can slow down and use caution to go around you so that we don't cause any incidents and so that you don't get hurt. All right, so now let's talk about controlling our speed. This is very important as well. So this is a major factor in crashes. If you're going too fast for road conditions or weather conditions, too fast in turns, okay? These are the 2 major factors in crashes. Too fast for conditions, too fast in the turns. The vehicles that we are driving out there, your commercial vehicles, They are not just regular vehicles. They are used for transporting commodities. Some of them are extremely heavy. Some of them are bulky. Some of them have liquids in them, etc. So you want to make sure that you are 100% at all times in control of your speed. Stopping distance. That is very important. As you are driving, especially in commercial vehicles, you're going to become more aware of what's going on around you, way more than you were in your personal vehicle. The stopping distance in these trucks are totally different from in a smaller vehicle, okay? So perception depth is important. Your reaction time is important. And how you brake is also very important. So braking, all of these make up total stopping distance. Empty trucks require greater stopping distance. Double your speed 4 times your stopping distance. All right. So if your truck is empty, you're probably like, what? Why did they say that? If your truck is empty and doesn't have a heavy load on it, it doesn't have a load on it, you need more time to stop because you need more time to slow down. You're not a regular vehicle where you can just drive up to the red light and then hit your brakes, boom, and you stop. No. In these trucks, you have to gradually decrease your speed, especially if you're in a manual, okay? Your speed has to match the gear that you're in. In an automatic, once you start to hit your brake, it will slow down automatically. It'll automatically shift the gears in your transmission to match the speed that you're trying to reach. In the manual, you have to manually do that. You have to tell it, hey, I want to slow down. I need to slow down. All right. And that's by clutching. So in an empty vehicle, your slowdown time or stopping distance is greater. If you had a heavy load, not so much because the load in itself is heavy, so it's going to help you slow down. It's going once you stop, you know, accelerating and, going faster and moving that engine, once you start to slow it down, the load that you are hauling is actually going to help you. All right, so matching your speed to the road surface. If there's slick roads, shaded areas, bridges, melting ice, black ice, vehicle icing, right after it rains, there's hydroplaning. There's so much stuff as drivers that, especially over the road drivers. In a state like Texas or California or Pennsylvania, New York, your huge states, Colorado even, it's not a huge state, but it's very bipolar when it comes to weather, or just seasons. But, states like that, you can start on one side and it's nice and sunny and hot and beautiful. And as you start to drive, it's rainy or it's windy or it's icy or it's snowing. And then it gets back to being hot. So there's tons of situations that can happen. You want to make sure your speed match the road surface, the weather, everything that's going on around you. Pay attention and be responsible. Speed and curves. You don't want to speed in curves. The load that you are carrying in your trailer or your truck can shift. Okay? And that right there is common sense. Even in a regular car, if you turn too fast, your coffee or your Coke, in the cup holder can end up on the back, in the back seat in your trunk area or what have you, or whatever you had on the back seat can now end up on your windshield. So you want to make sure your speed and your curves makes sense. All right. Center of gravity. posted speed signs. There are signs everywhere that'll show you, hey, slow it down. The government is very responsible when it comes to us, the Department of Transportation. They want us to be safe on the roads. Okay, the rules and the regulations that they have out there is not because they want to ride our shoulders, but they want us to be safe. They want us to stay alive. Okay, and this stuff will keep you safe. Do not brake in a curve. You want to slightly accelerate in a curve to maintain your control. And the key is to slow down before entering. There is always signs that say, hey, curve coming up. In a regular car, you can ignore that sign and probably slow down once you get into the curve. In these trucks, you cannot ignore these signs. In fact, if you were looking ahead of time, you could see that sign coming up. When I see those signs coming up, I slow down before I get to the sign because sometimes that sign is not enough time for me to slow down. Some places, they don't, the way the terrain is, the way, the hills are, etc., you don't have enough time when you get the signs to slow down. So I pay attention when I'm driving, especially in unfamiliar areas. I pay attention, make sure, hey, that looks like a hill going down. All right, let me slow down. And you could feel as well when you get to your high elevation areas in the States. You can feel if you're going too high, if you're going up or if you're going down. So I pay attention to all of that. All right. Speed and distance ahead. You want to be able to stop within the distance you can see. I think we all learned this in regular driving school, if you went to driving school. So you want to be able to stop within the distance that you can see. You want to be able to stop within the distance you can see. Any type of weather or road conditions, low beams, don't see as far as high beams. Okay. Speed and traffic flow. Heavy traffic. Go with the flow of traffic. Keep an opening around you as an escape. Let's stop there for just a quick second. Go with the flow of traffic. You still have to follow the laws as a commercial driver. So if the flow of traffic is being reckless, you have to still follow the law, okay? And this can happen. Traffic is heavy and you'll see cars just jump over medians and, make U-turns, etc. We cannot do that. All right, you will get stuck, you will jackknife, or you will get ticketed because the cops are waiting on you. Your load will get shifted or your trailer will flip. So follow the law, okay? You want to keep an opening around you as an escape. When traffic is heavy, I never want to be in the middle. I'd rather be in the slow lane or the hunker down lane. All right, so that's my right lane or my left lane. I'd rather be in either one of those than the middle lane. Because if anything happens, I can just go to my left on the shoulder or to my right on the shoulder. If there's no shoulders on the left, I'm just going to stay on the right. That way, if something happens, if a pileup happens right in front of me, I can go around them on the curb, okay? So I always try to find myself and have an escape. It might be more frustrating because I'm in the slow lane and all these cars are trying to merge in, but I'd rather have a way out than be part of, something worse. So, speed on downgrades. Your speed will increase when you're going downhill due to our friend, which is gravity. The total weight of the truck, the length of grade, the steepness of grade, road conditions, and weather all play a factor when you're going down, okay? So you absolutely want to slow it down. Manage your space. So space ahead in case of emergency stop And what that space means is the space between you and the next vehicle. In case you have to stop in an emergency, rule 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle at speeds of under 40 miles per hour. Add 1 second above 40. Okay, so if you gotta stop, you gotta stop. If you do, depending on which vehicle you're in and how heavy you are, you need space between you and the vehicle in front of you so that you don't hit them. Okay? Space behind. Stay to the right. There's tailgaters. When traveling slow in bad weather, avoid crashes. How we do that? Slow down sooner. Turn on your signal early if turning. Increase your following distance. Okay, so if someone's tailing you, speed up a little bit if you can to get them off of you. Don't speed up and don't play tricks. And what I mean by don't speed up is, don't just take off if you're in, especially if you're in a 45 mile per hour zone and it just feels like someone's just back there on, tailing you. Don't just take off and go 60 so you can get away from them. That's not what you want to do. You want to stay in the legal realms, that's around you. But if someone is really behind you and, traveling too slow, just maybe switch lanes until they go around you. But absolutely don't play tricks with them. I think that's all. Space below. This is very important.
There is drainage ditches, there's uneven parking lots, there's rail tracks and train tracks, there's all kinds of things below you that might not give you the right clearance when you're driving. So you want to pay attention to the roadways as you are driving. Space for turns. When you're making a right turn, you want to turn slow. If you have time to swing into another lane, wide as you complete the turn, keep the rear of your vehicle close to the curb to avoid using being passed on the right side. Don't turn wide to the left to make a turn. If you have to cross into oncoming traffic, wait until it is clear to watch for oncoming vehicles. Stop if you have to, but never ever back up.
Left turns. Turn only after reaching the center of intersection to avoid off-trafficking into the other lane. So what that means is as you start driving and you take off, once you get in the center of the intersection, that's when you start turning. All right? If two turn lanes are available, you always want to use the right lane. It prevents from having to swing wide in the next lane to avoid traffic on the left. Space needed to cross or enter traffic. Slow acceleration need larger gaps to enter. If loaded heavy, you need more room to accelerate. Before starting to cross, make sure you can get all the way before traffic reaches you. And then when in doubt, wait. If you can see the vehicle moving, then you're too close. All right, so seeing hazards. What is a hazard? Any road condition or road user that is a possible danger. Seeing hazards. Time to react. Keeps hazards from becoming an emergency. So if I see something going on ahead of time, it gives me enough time to react. If I'm like, oh, looks like construction's coming up. Okay, I'm going to slow down. Or I might reroute myself so I don't even have to deal with it.